No Love Lost to Kindness, the new album from New Zealand pop band Yumi Zouma, is the perfect mix of their usual dream pop sound and turning up the amps for something a little more indie rock. I'm going to break it all down on this edition of Rock Album Review. Hey everybody, it's Nick here with you. Welcome back to the channel. No Love Lost to Kindness is the fifth studio album from Yumi Zouma. It's the follow-up to 2022's Present Tense. Yumi Zouma are a pop band that hail from New Zealand, made up of vocalist Christy Simpson, guitarist and bassist and keyboardist Josh Burgess and Charlie Ryder, and drummer Olivia Campion. And Yumi Zouma is one of my favorite bands on the planet right now. Obviously, on this channel, I talk mostly about rock music and all of its different forms, although Yumi Zouma also rock in their own way. But I love a lot of different music, and I've become obsessed with Yumi Zouma's really relaxed dream pop indie kind of sound. I find their music very soothing and very comforting. Like when I'm not rocking out to the fullest extent, when I don't have my devil horns on at all times, I'm probably listening to Yumi Zouma and just chilling out. In fact, they were my #1 artist on my 2025 Spotify Wrapped, so that means I must listen to a lot of Yumi Zouma. And funnily enough, everybody knows that Oasis is my favorite band of all time. Obviously, look at the wall behind me. I love my Oasis, and I talk about them a lot here on the channel, but there's actually a little bit of a connection between Yumi Zouma and Oasis, because Yumi Zouma actually did, back in 2017, they did a full album cover of the second Oasis album, What's the Story, Morning Glory, playing all the classic songs, like from front to back. They covered the entire record, and they did those Oasis songs in their own style, which is very, very cool. I highly recommend that you check it out if you're an Oasis fan. It's different. It's not exactly the same as the original album. They definitely do their own thing and take the melodies in their own direction, but it's a very cool listen, so I highly recommend you check out the Yumi Zouma version of Morning Glory. Before we continue, guys, if you like this channel, you like this review, make sure to toss me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that, and make sure to smash the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. All right, let's get back to it. But Yumi Zouma have taken things in a much rockier direction on this new album. It's not heavy metal or anything, but they definitely turned up the amps a little bit more and rocking out a little bit more. And that's a cool change from the dreamy indie pop style that they've become known for. So obviously I was very excited for this new album from Yumi Zouma, but I kind of had a mixed feeling going into listening to this record, because back in 2025, last year, the band already released 6 tracks from this record on their own as singles, which I know is a very modern Spotify streaming way to market and release music. It helps build up the hype and get everybody into the album. But the downside of that is, going into listening to this record, I felt like I'd already heard the majority of the album, or at least half of the album. It's only 12 songs. So I already heard 6 songs, and I was thinking there might not be anything really that new, but thankfully there's enough new here for me to enjoy this listen. And as I said, the biggest difference with the new record compared to past Yumi Zouma records is that they go into more of an indie rock direction. They've turned up the amps a little louder, the drums are a bit more live and in your face, and the songs just in general have some more attitude, like Bashville on the Sugar, Blister, which is my favorite track on this record, Phoebe's song, Judgment Day. Yumi Zouma actually rocks out a little bit more on this album. That said, they have maintained their older sound as well. When I first heard these new songs, I enjoyed them, but I was worried that the band would be abandoning the sound that I really enjoy from them over the years. But thankfully on this record, they've managed to combine both of those sounds. On the first half of the record, it's got more of that more upbeat, modern indie rock sound. And then on the second half of the record, they go back more into that dream pop sound on songs like Cowboy Without a Clue, Chicago 2 a.m., and Every False Embrace. Those cozy dream pop vibes that I really enjoy from Yumi Zouma. I like that they're branching out with the new songs, but I also enjoy that they've managed to keep that old sound as well. Christy Simpson's vocals are once again a huge highlight of this album, along with her interplay vocals with Josh Burgess doing co-lead vocals on some of the tracks, but she also experiments a little bit on this album with a lighter, sillier vocal on Blister, or the distortion on her voice on Judgment Day. Either way, the vocals are great and the melodies are super catchy. And instrumentally, ultimately, Yumi Zouma are always awesome. They're the queens and kings of cool synth sounds and keyboard sounds. The dynamics of the bass and the guitars from Josh and Charlie Ryder are always great. And then some great drumming from Olivia Campion on here, who gets to shine on this record too. I would always say that previous records from Yumi Zouma sounded a little bit more like loopy, like electronic. The drums didn't really sound live, but here the drums sound more live than loops on tracks like Bashville and the Sugar and the really rocking drum parts on Judgment Day. The album also has a much darker and moodier side to it as well. Much darker and moodier, almost haunting than stuff that we've heard from Yumi Zouma before. Cross My Heart and Hope to Die, which is the first track on the record. Did You See Her, which is a very dramatic, almost sad kind of song. Waiting for the Cards to Fall. They're much more dramatic and hit darker than a lot of past Yumi Zouma songs. Not that everything they've done has been super sunny, but I think it's a cool vibe on these types of songs, but it's not really my favorite type of song that the band does. I like things to be a little bit more lighter and a little bit more fun, especially since a lot of these songs are stacked near the end of the album. From Did You See Her all the way through to Waiting for the Cards to Fall, I feel like the album started to lose a little bit of the momentum and started to get a little bit boring, which is hard for me to say because I love Yumi Zouma and I love the majority of this record, but not every song was a home run for me, although I may enjoy them on subsequent listens. Thankfully, the majority of the album is pretty darn strong and has a nice balance between the older dream pop sound of Yumi Zouma and the new, more indie rock side. Both are great, and it's good to get a nice dose of both on this new album, change things up and have a different dynamic. I still love the band and look forward to seeing them live later this year in Toronto. I'm going to give the new album from Yumi Zouma, No Love Lost to Kindness, a 4 out of 5. Favorite tracks for me on No Love Lost to Kindness were Bashville and the Sugar, Blister, Cowboy Without a Cause, and Chicago 2 a.m. And that is it, guys. That is my rock album review, or my dream pop or indie rock or pop album review of the new album from Yumi Zouma called No Love Lost to Kindness. Now it's your turn. Hop into the comments below. Let me know what you thought of the new album from Yumi Zouma. If you like this video, make sure to toss me a thumbs up. I very much appreciate that. Make sure to smash the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. And I'll see you guys again for another review here on the channel. Until then, rock on, everybody.